Hi there, I'm Jenny Lay-Flurry, the Chief Accessibility Officer, and welcome to Microsoft Inspire. Today, you're going to be hearing about the importance of empowering people with disabilities and doing that through the lens of accessibility. Empowering people through technology, through tools that are available in every part of the Microsoft ecosystem, leveraging those to build, to layer, to empower people who are deaf, blind, mobility, neurodiverse, mental health, and more. The stories you're going to hear are from partners who have leveraged our toolkits, whether it's speech and language and knowledge from cognitive services, right the way through to just leaning into the tools in Windows 11 and Microsoft 365. Why? Why does this matter? Because the disability divide is growing. Disability divide, the gap in social equality, social inequity for people with disabilities. Did you know that the unemployment rate for people with disabilities is double that, and sometimes more in some countries, double that for people with disabilities than not? This is really important. Accessibility isn't understood by everyone. People are not aware of what is in the heart and in the core of our products and innovating the next future to open doors for people with disabilities. So please lean in, get educated, get comfortable with talking about disability and accessibility, because we need you. We need you to help us to change those paradigms and to open doors for talent. Thank you so much for your time and have a great session.
Thanks, Jenny. Hi, everyone. I'm Hector Minto. I'm the lead accessibility evangelist here at Microsoft. And in my role, I work with companies, governments, and partners around the globe to help us all understand the impact that technology has on the lives of people with disabilities in this digital society that we're building. And as we build for 2030, we're calling for all partners to be change makers to innovate and accelerate our collective impact in support of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. These are called SDGs, and they're a set of 17 goals adopted by UN member states to build a more sustainable, inclusive future for all of us, driving real impact by 2030. For us, accessibility is going to be a key focus. In our upcoming hackathon in September, we think there's a fantastic opportunity for you all to skill up, build, deliver solutions and consulting offers to essentially put accessibility at the forefront of what you deliver as businesses. We think there is real go-to-market differentiation here for you, because diversity matters in today's society. Our customers are investing in this space, and they're putting a real value on social values in their procurement and their supplier diversity. That's why we're enabling partners to attest to themselves as diverse businesses through the Partner Center. That includes disability-led businesses or signing up to disability agendas within your markets. For us here in the UK, we have this amazing scheme called the Disability Confidence Scheme. And so if you're a Disability Confident level 2 or 3, you're going to be able to differentiate yourself as being signed up to that agenda. That will make you stand out when people are looking at who their suppliers are. Now, when we think about where accessibility sits within a business, it's important to understand that it really sort of spans everything. It has touch points everywhere within a modern enterprise. Whether it's your brand perception, your digital skilling through maybe your CIO or your CTO, the desktop experience of employees and the inclusive workplace that we're all trying to build, it kind of just sits everywhere. But one important point that we're trying to help people understand is that increasingly chief commercial officers or sales teams or the products that our customers are building are also going to have to be inclusive of people with disabilities. Adoption and change management is going to be a critical part here to get companies started on their journey on learning about accessibility. And we think that our products have a real role to play to spark that interest and get people on their journey to building more accessible products and experiences. So as part of any start, then experiment, then scale strategy for adoption and change management, there is an opportunity to build in disability inclusion and accessibility and engage different people within the organization to help you drive that program out. This should just be seen as a starting point. When we think about any Horizon 1, 2, 3 strategy with accessibility in mind, M365 is going to play a role in getting the conversation started, But from there, there's going to be real business opportunity to help organizations with their built infrastructure, their biz apps, their tools, their intranets, their SharePoints to also be accessible. And then we think there's the opportunity to innovate and build brand new experiences and products in the cloud that are inclusive of people with disabilities. So please see this as just the starting point for accessibility. Okay, with that in mind, we're going to turn to our panel for today. So I'm delighted to be joined by three partners from different parts of the world, all with a different approach, leading on accessibility in their world. I'm going to ask each of them to introduce themselves and a little bit about what they're delivering on accessibility. So I'm going to turn to you first, Estelle. Hey, Estelle.
Hi, Hector. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this panel. My name is Estelle Jackson. I'm the Global Director of Inclusion, Diversity, Education and Awareness, also known as IDEA, our strategic D&I program at Poly. At Poly, we believe that work is not a place, it's what you do and how you do it. And we're very much in the business of making sure that there is equality in opportunity and experience with the products that we make. Hardware is the hero is one of my favorite terms that Hector coined. And we work very closely with Microsoft in terms of how we deliver an inclusive collaboration experience. Personally, I actually am registered as disabled, and I do really find that there's a lot of judgment in the world if you don't have a visible issue, and so my passion comes out in terms of making sure that everybody has equal access. So for me, I can go into a parking lot or a car park, put my badge in the car to say that I can park closer to the supermarket, for example, because I can't walk very far. And I genuinely have people come up to me and say, you don't look disabled. And for me, I want to make sure that as many people as possible in the world have equal access and can use exactly the same technology as everybody else. It's not about making things for specific disabilities. It's about making products that just work for everyone. And that's why I'm here today.
Fantastic, Estelle, and thank you for sharing that. I'm going to turn over to Baz at Enu.nu.
Thank you, Hector. I'm Bas van der. I'm the founder and director of a company with the unpronounceable name Enu.nu. Very well tried. And our company is a full-service adoption company. So we deliver practical and flexible adoption services both before, during, and after Microsoft 365 implementations. And what we do is we support every individual and team on their own digital journey, whether it needs to have an accessibility item in it or not. So with that, we have incorporated the Microsoft mission statement to empower and really empower, I think we should stress that out, every individual and organization on the planet to achieve more. So with that, every person has his or her own starting point. Whether this has to do with digital skills, digital dexterity, or specific tooling. And this way we're invested to make digital work easier for everyone. And from a personal note, I so truly believe that everyone deserves own individual attention and support to be able to be part of this modern world and to collaborate in a digital manner like every other individual.
Thank you, Baz. And now we're going to move west down the coast into France. Hey, Sihem.
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Sihem Fayar. I'm Senior Employee Experience Consultant and also Accessibility Leader at Saigus. Saigus is the consulting firm based in Paris. And our mission is to help people discover, try, and then adopt the best uses of digital tools, especially for M365 tools. And one day I asked myself, what is the most satisfying thing in your job? And when we build M365 adoption programs for our client, usually you run training session. And when I see on participants' face, they really understand all the advantages and how digital tools will help them on their daily work, I'm really satisfied with that. But it's not always the case. You also meet people who still have hesitation, who are slower understanding how work the tools are, also disabled person with difficulties. And when you face this situation, you think, I did not anticipate, and my adoption program was not adapted for those situations. So you need to act, and that's how I started working on creating an offer called Accessibility Adoption for All, for our clients, but also to change our way of working at Saigus with new reflexes. So yes, I said Segu's mission is to help people with digital tools, but people mean everybody.
Thank you, Sam. So 3 businesses, 3 different approaches, 3 kind of different raison d'etres, to borrow a French phrase, Sihem. You all kind of come at it from a slightly different way. I know that when I first joined Microsoft, there was this concept of we're baking in accessibility features, but are people wanting to pay for them? Yeah, and this idea that is there commercial value to delivering accessible products? And we've been on a 5 or 6 year journey exploring that to kind of help people understand that there is absolutely business value in the 1 in 6. Some people are saying 1 in 5. Some are even saying 1 in 4 now, post-pandemic. People with disabilities on the planet being able to use their tech properly. But we need partners to understand and to join us in really understanding this commercial value and this added value it delivers to customers. So was there a moment where you kind of said, actually, this is not just the right thing to do, but this is actually good business sense? Was there a kind of a eureka moment there? Can I ask you to kick us off on this one, Sihem?
There has been a real change for infrastructure building standards now. When you enter, for example, an office building, you can quickly identify that it's accessible. The entry, the elevators, or also the meeting rooms, for example. Those changes are visible, but if I can talk about it, there is still a lack when we really want to make things accessible regarding interaction between people and access to information. As digital adoption actor, we are convinced that digital tools like M365 tools has a real potential and are facilitators. For instance, once during M365 training session, I met a 45-year-old man with a glass eye. I didn't know at the beginning of the session he has a disability, and I found out when I saw him awfully close to his computer screen. I showed him how to enlarge the screen, enlarge the text, the mouse pointer with Windows 10 features, and directly I saw on his face a huge relief, And this day, he only spent like 2 hours with me on the training session. But what about the 20 years, of working? Yeah. And all the information, all the communications, all the opportunity he missed, So we have to work on it. And most of the time, disabled person adapt themselves to the standards, ways of working. But it shouldn't be the case. Companies should invest so that any employees has the same level of information, the same working condition. As we have sometimes, as we have seen sometimes, without investing a lot, I was talking about Windows 10 features, and with tools already at our disposal, we can reduce the gap. And I think a company has a big role to play. And if they invest in good working condition, it will for sure increase employee performance, and it's real for everybody.
I think that's great, and I love that it kind of took, sometimes when you meet an individual and you empower that single person, that drives momentum through a team, through a business. That I'm sure that person left that meeting a fan of Segu's,
yeah.
A fan of Microsoft, and ready to tell everybody about the features. I think that's great. In my intro, Estelle, we talked about the changing BDM, the changing business decision maker. Diversity and inclusion leads are making decisions now about the technology and about the design, the infrastructure of businesses around the world. I guess that had something to do with your personal passion to get involved. But how many DEI or IDEA individuals are you engaging with on the topic of accessibility now?
That's a great question. I think companies are all on a journey, and some of them are further ahead than others. I remember having very specific conversations with our CEO and our sales lead and our product lead, saying, this is not a small customer base. Putting it into business terms. This is not a small customer base. We're talking about over 1 billion humans on the planet who need a little bit of individual or, extra additional help to use our technology and feel equal to everybody else that they're dealing with. And I think that when I pointed it out in terms of the sheer number of people, and also the fact that I'm very clear at Poly that, this isn't a philanthropy piece. This isn't something we do as a nice to have. It's part of our DNA. We are very clear on that we want our products to work for as many people as possible. And I said a very simple phrase to our EVP of product, and actually we use it at Poly all the time. We want to make things that just work. They work if you have a vision issue, they work if you have hearing difficulties, they work if you're neurodiverse, they work if there's a dexterity issue. So our design team now, when we are creating products, will always think about an if then. So as an example, the headset that I'm wearing right now, when you're using Teams, you have the mic button, and obviously there's a flash through it if you're on mute. Now, if you've got a vision issue, sometimes that can be hard to see. It's hard to see if you don't have a vision issue sometimes, but the headsets we make actually give you an audio cue now. And so if you start speaking and you're on mute, the headset says muted. So even if you can't see that you're on mute, you can hear that you're on mute. And some of those things we get feedback from our customers are just absolute game changers. So I think most companies are starting to think about it, but we've got to drive it as a business imperative, not a nice to have.
I remember meeting many of your team when we were prepping for events on this topic, Estelle, and they were like, we already do accessibility. We've got all these great features. Like, why is no one talking about them? And it was like almost like the product managers lit up and thought, finally, we get to kind of tell the world about the decisions we're making on design. I think that's fantastic. So Baz, Enu.nu, I am good at that now. But tell us about your very focused, business model on adoption and change management and where accessibility plays a part.
Yeah, so where it started to kick in for us was, so to say, the eureka moment was when we realized that we were already delivering specialized services to individuals with a disability without even thinking it was anything special, right? We were just supporting individuals in using their tech stuff or their digital environment. But people started to stress out to us that it was very important. And then only then we discovered the huge potential it had, and not just to make a social impact, but also to make a business impact. And I think we're talking about percentages of people involved, but I think it's 100%. Everyone is involved. And that's why we sort of redefined our proposition to not just support the people who are disabled, so to say, but also to support their co-workers to be able to collaborate with them in a way that everyone's included, and to support the management teams and the organizations how to facilitate the individuals who work within the organization to have the possibilities to be included so that everyone can benefit from those tools. And I think that the great sort of eureka moment for me personal is when I realized how many of those tools that were actually designed for accessibility are used in a day-to-day routine by people, so to say, without a disability, but they're still very useful, right? So I think that we have a video that stresses out what the impact is of someone, not just if they are supported, but if they are supported from their organization means and their perspective, and it's on top of the agenda of the organization that they work for.
Hello, my name is Niels de Boer. I work with the Dutch police since October last year. My role within the Dutch police is a senior application manager and a specialist for Microsoft 365. Within the Dutch police, accessibility is very important, but also for me personal, this topic is a priority because I have a handicap with my eyes and I have about 20% of vision left. Within the police, we are working on a rollout of Microsoft 365, including an adoption and a training program. Within this program, there's a special attention to the theme accessibility, like a training effective and inclusive online meetings. We also have an employee group focused on accessibility. In the program, we learn that accessibility is definitely not a problem, but it is a solution. We raise awareness internally, the importance of inclusive meetings. This is not only for employees with a disability, we see it as a mismatch in the human interaction from both ways. Therefore, it is necessary that everyone is involved and everyone understands that you include all your colleagues.
That's a great video. Look, thanks for sharing that with us. I think there's something interesting here, though, and maybe this takes us to the next question about how do we coach our sales teams to engage and feel confident about engaging with employee resource groups for disability, meeting people with disabilities inside the customer. Have you had any pushback from your sales teams, any kind of nervousness about engaging with the population of people with disabilities within customers? Estelle, I mean, I guess this is part of the D&I agenda to build confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will probably rock the boat a little with this answer, because for me, it's not just about our sales people. So we had Global Accessibility Awareness Day last month, and as part of our offering to our employees, we hosted an all-employee webinar where we had our executives from product and design and solutions, invite our employees to come and learn why this is important to us and how, even to the point where we actually showed our employees very transparently some of our best products that are on the market now, and where they meet accessibility requirements from a federal point of view, where they partially meet them and where they don't meet them, and very transparently saying, when we iterate this product, we're going to change this. We're going to put recessors in, so if you're partially sighted, you can feel where play or mute is. We're looking at changing the colours on things, or using words rather than a coloured phone, right? Green and red is the standard in the world, but actually the words on and off are much more visibly seen if you have any sort of vision issues. So actually, although we do specific stuff with the sales team, we've had most of our sales team now go through the Microsoft Accessibility Fundamentals. We're seeing that curiosity is actually coming from them to us. So to me, and obviously our product teams, I have a customer who's really interested in buying something, but they have some employees with this issue or condition, and which of our products is going to suit them best. So actually, we're seeing it the other way round. Although we do absolutely do things like we hosted some accessibility empathy sessions in our biggest offices last month, where we invited our employees to try and do things if they had some sort of issue. So putting elastic bands around your hand and trying to use a phone, or putting a headset on with noise cancelling and trying to understand what somebody in front of you was saying, where you were just lip reading. It became a very interesting way of showing people that, the world can be very different and challenging if you're not in an equal space. So we're definitely seeing the questions coming in thick and fast from our customers, and there is huge appetite for our sales team to learn and to drive the conversation.
Great. So putting a baseline of knowledge in place. Thank you for getting them to take the training. I think that's fantastic. Great approach. But then also to maintain curiosity. It's a huge topic, accessibility. Yeah. You're going to find yourself in situations where you don't know the answer. Don't pretend you know the answer. Don't pretend everything's perfect, but engage. I think that's fantastic. Sihem, how about you?
Yeah, at Segus, we have 4 departments, different departments: employee experience, factory with designers and also developers, data-driven business, and acceleration tactics. All our delivery teams must demonstrate in their jobs to our clients the best practices, new way of working, and we must be, for sure, irrepressible. So we create a global sensitive program for the entire company. We start also, like Estelle, with the onboarding, and we add the Microsoft Online module fundamentals of accessibility. Then we have a specific adoption program composed of training on M365, accessibility features by tools or usages. We have practical guides, videos, etc. And then we have also a dedicated experts team for consulting and any question. And we organize also some events, talks with external experts for the whole company. And we invite Philippe Trottin, the Microsoft French accessibility leader. And we have a focus on our designer, because for them it's mandatory to have the certification that include a module dedicated to accessibility assets. So all our designers have that, yeah. And finger crossed, we will launch in September our Segus Accessibility Guide, also with Philippe Trottin as an introducer, our clients' feedback, and also Segus vision and best practices. So yeah, we are convinced that it will have an impact with our clients, so we go further on the adoption, and it's a real competitive asset, yeah.
Fantastic. Look, there's something in there. When you mentioned Philippe Trottin, he is your French, what we call GCAP lead, our Global Commercial Accessibility Program lead. Wherever you are in the world watching this, you have a GCAP lead from Microsoft in your region. So connect with them, ask for their support, and they can help you to build out your strategies as well. That's fantastic. You also mentioned, CM, the expertise you've also got in Segus for when people want to go further than M365. So yeah. When we did my introduction, we talked about Horizon 2, Horizon 3 planning. You know, partners who've got that skill set can absolutely help businesses move further with their accessibility journey beyond the onboarding. But back to you, Baz. You know, onboarding is a really critical part for Microsoft. You know, we've got to get people started on the accessibility journey at Horizon 1. What specific coaching have you put in place for your teams?
Well, first of all, it's always on the agenda. We made the comparison with a theme like security, and you don't discuss security only for specific parts of your IT domain, right? So that's the same with accessibility. It's always there, so we always have to put it on the agenda. And it sounds easy. That takes a lot of work and a lot of effort, of course. So we have asked all our trainers, consultants, and sellers to obtain the Microsoft Accessibility Badge, of course. I would say no-brainer, and let's also get customers to do that because it's easy to create awareness from that. With that, we have committed to the partner pledge, which actually for us was a catalyst to reunite sort of with the UN 2030 goals, and we really saw a route forward to make a difference as a company with commercial benefits as well. So it's not just sort of being the good guy in the room. We earn money from this, right? So we've created new products. We have created trainings and workshops for how to do inclusive meetings, what to take into account. How do you plan a meeting like that? How do you make sure that your PowerPoint is in order and that the color scheme is right? So it's not that difficult, but you have to put it on the agenda. We have started to bring out marketing and little tips and tricks around the use of Microsoft 365 with sign language. You know, it's easy, small stuff. Every customer from 1uur.nu receives an offer for free training for accessibility for those people within the company that need that little extra bit of attention. That's not the big money saver, but it gets a discussion going. And from there on, we can always put the topic on the agenda on the client side as well, which of course is crucial to make this a success.
Fantastic. Accessibility as a kind of a starting point within the sales discussion is fantastic because it sparks interest in people. You know, it's maybe not what people are expecting to hear from us, but then you start talking about something that they've not been close to, and it all escalates from there. I think that's fantastic. You know, the pandemic has been an amazing kind of period of learning for society. Things that might have seemed impossible before the pandemic suddenly became like, absolutely, we're just got to go for it. You know, people leaving work, moving home, every single business learned something more about their employees during that period. And that includes the 1 in 6, 1 in 5 people on the planet with a disability. So the fact that you as partners have been involved in that absolutely makes you kind of, you know, ready to have the conversation about this next phase we're moving into, which is clearly hybrid. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. It's been amazing to each of you bring your very different perspective, both in role, geography, and deliverable. So thank you so much for sharing what you're doing on accessibility. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
So we're here to support you on your journey with a number of different resources, some of which you might have just heard us mention. Starts with Accessibility Fundamentals. This is level 101 training to get everyone confident on disability, the Microsoft offer, and how to build accessible experiences. We've also created an inclusive adoption guide to help you deliver with accessibility in mind and build strategies with your customers. We also are going to be holding in the Connection Zone more conversations about accessibility during Inspire. So please come and join us. Ask us anything you want about the topic. Let's really start having that in-person conversation about accessibility. Before I leave, I just want to remind you about Build for 2030. We're having that hack in September. This is this chance for you to really kind of get your teams motivated to build net new innovative solutions and inclusive customer offers. So join us in September for that hackathon, get your teams excited about this, and really help us deliver our social impact ambitions here at Microsoft. Thanks for joining us.